to Jesse and Squirrel. As you all know, that's Jesse and I'm Squirrel. As always, guys, I want to get to a lot of stuff. Fantasy, NFL week. We did a little bit yesterday. Me and Jesse are going to start doing this nearly every day. Get you guys little nuggets. We've been making moves in fantasy. A lot of fantasy talk today.
Daily knowledge nuggets.
Yeah, knowledge nuggets. How you been, buddy? What are you doing, man? You doing all right over there?
Yep. I just showed you doing some drone surveying.
Yep, doing some drone surveying. That's it's actually pretty sweet. Like,
yeah, you got to see it.
Whatever it is, it's new technology. Like I said, it's taking jobs away from boys, but it's how the world's evolving, dude. I mean,
hey, I'll take all the jobs away if I keep working from the house.
Yeah, for real. You can keep working from the house and not have to pay 9 guys to do one man's job now. I mean, why not? Honestly, what's the loss? It's all gained pretty much. So
the real question of the day is what are you wearing on your body there?
So I pulled this out of the old drawer. As you know, I started my podcast and my radio life in Denver, Colorado. Went thrifting one week and, kind of found this bad boy. Nice little polo, man. It's got a nice little collar. It says Colorado on the
back. Yeah, you buy that shirt right now. It's $500 there.
Yeah, baby. I got this for $1.50 at Goodwill, so I'm wearing it out real nice. And
they had the official numbers come out for that game, and it was like 3 million viewers at 2:00 in the morning.
Crazy, dude. I mean, I'm upset more about the timing of the game. I can't believe you guys used that whole slot that late at night to
yeah.
I don't know. It's just
crap. Well, I mean, you got to think the game in Colorado, it don't start till 10.
Right. So I mean, it went till 2. A lot of places. It's I mean, especially as long as it went double overtime. Great game though. Great game. Amazing game.
This week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Anyway, a lot of fantasy stuff to get to. I'm making moves. Jesse's making moves. I was just showing Jesse. If anybody doesn't have this, I think you kind of need to get something like this. A lot of people. It's a lot of work, but I have 12 leagues, so it's a lot of work to keep up with. But if you start with it at the beginning and you keep it, it's not too much. I keep a lot of stats on a lot of things, on a lot of people, on all my guys I drop, the guys I keep, the guys I start, the guys I bench, everything, their highs, their lows, their averages. If you don't understand it or you don't know it, ESPN kind of really is doing it for you. You just got to kind of look and know where to look and see. I just want to see it all on one page in front of me, instead of clicking each person. He's averaging. Okay, what did he average again? Trying to remember. I got every single person on every single team on one big page.
And I write Excel templates all the time for work and stuff. And like looking at yours, how you have like the red and green, you're manually doing that. What I'm going to do is I'll start to work on one that we could like give, for people who listen to the show and stuff, if they want to get it, and it'll automatically do that type of stuff for them. Yeah. So after you show, I'll work on one of those for us.
Yeah. I just, there's a bunch of formulas and stuff you put in there. When numbers hit certain things, it turns colors and stuff like that. There's things we can build for you guys and stuff like that. I mean, Jesse knows how to do it, obviously, and I do as well. If there's any questions a lot of people have, I just, I put it on the little, on the message board on YouTube. Message us on Anchor FM. I'd love to answer questions. We're gonna get the hotline kind of back up and going here shortly. And stuff. If me and Jesse are able to do this every day, we kind of get a show vibe going, and I kind of, we can kind of get this back together and have breaks and timing in each day and all that stuff. So you guys can, obviously watch Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and all that stuff. But for right now, all this stuff's going to be popping on YouTube and Anchor FM for the Jesse and Squirrel podcast. I want to talk a little bit about some fantasy moves coming into week 3 that some people, like myself in 1 or 2 leagues. I'm not going to lie. Jesse knows in his big league, I'm 0-2. We just talked about some of the stats, I've made, and you can see on the wire how many moves I've made. I mean, I've been sweeping around doing this, doing that. And it just, sometimes it doesn't all like I had. And, at one point I was beating Jesse. Came back, swamped me. At one point, I was projected 204 against the guy the last week that I was playing. Came back, swamped me. I needed 60 points to catch him on the last day. Things happen really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And you may think you're projected 164. Chances are, Bubba, you're not going to hit 164. There's very few people that even get over like 170 in a league, unless you got, a 2-quarterback league, stuff like that. That's easily understandable. But
yeah,
a lot of teams, man, projected 120, 115, 130, in between the 115, 130 range. And you'll have a nice week at 170. That's an amazing week. So don't look at your projection and think, oh, I need to switch a guy to make it higher. I need to switch a guy to make it higher. Because I had somebody in our family league, we were talking about it at the game last week. They wanted to do that. I'm like, it's kind of a bad way to really think about it, and understand it. Just because Saquon Barkley, or that's probably a bad way to do it.
Don't even use a running back.
Yeah, for Christ's sake. Just say a wide receiver's at 11.4, and there's another wide receiver on a different team at 12.1. Okay, that doesn't mean you have to switch him. If you like that guy with the matchup that's going on, play that man, because it's all about the matchup. That Jalen Waddle I have on a lot of my teams, and he's like 12 points projected each week. Now, I went and I got Puka Nacua because you know what? He's only projected 13 points. But you know what? He's been hitting 18, 30. He's been doing it. I switched him out this week. Now, it's Jalen Waddle's a tough one to do, but that's just a professional move that I'm making. What do you got there?
Yeah, it's like Kyren Williams. Same thing with him. I mean, you're talking about a guy who coming into the year probably was 5 to 7 range, and then boom, now I think he's projected at like 21 this week. It's something ridiculous, and you get those guys, like you said, everybody will give you that projection, the boom, the bust thing. That's AI telling that. It's not like people are really, really crunching them numbers, so you always say, you got to do your research, see who they're playing, see, how that, they might have the best defense in the league, but guess what? They have like the 17th, 18th ranked rushing defense in the league, and that's when you got to be able to exploit those little types of things.
Right. Small tidbit. This is probably the easiest thing to do this week as a fantasy owner. Start anyone and everyone you have for San Francisco this Thursday night against the Giants. Anyway, I'm talking defense. Nick Bosa.
Yeah, if you got
defensive players in your leagues, which that may be weird for someone to hear as someone who's listening to the channel, but there are defensive players in a lot of leagues. I have a league where there's a defensive player. That just makes it even tougher. Those are very tough leagues for very smart fantasy players. If you got a defensive player in that league, you better check and make sure you belong in a league like that.
Because, put it this way: the big one that we've been running for a while, and last year we added a defensive player, and it effed everyone up. Like, people didn't know what to do. You're talking now, you're losing a bench spot for backups, and because that top number to the next 5 number that we always talk about. Defense, it's real. I mean, it's really tough.
Real tough.
It blew out. It was a shit show. So we ended up taking it out.
Give me someone right now on one of the waiver wires that you've seen this week in a few of the leagues that you're in that you absolutely need to go get if you have a bench spot open, or even maybe a starter that has been dropped, say Cam Akers, Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor's not out. A few guys that are flying through the depth chart. And like I told a lot of people in the beginning of the season, and as you know, Jesse, have that damn depth chart in front of your face, because a lot of people I've seen Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. I could see them on the depth chart. I didn't know Cam Akers and everybody was going to start faltering, but when you see that, you have that in front of you where you can go, hey, waiver wire. Where's that guy? He's going to start. Boom. And you're way ahead of everyone. You know, they don't have to sit here and fight in week 2 because everyone's like, who the heck's Puka Nacua? You know, like what the heck? It's like you should have known who he was. He was second on the depth chart. You know, he's right behind, the man. Cooper Cup was out. He's him and Tutu Atwell are number 1, number 2. It's you gotta see that. And that's where fantasy owners, good ones, are ahead of the game.
So
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
There's a couple. I think everybody's gonna get that. You're gonna hear the Jerome Fords because with Nick Chubb being out, which
Okay.
sort of kind of a given. You might even see Justice Hill coming up more. A lot of people went out, got Gus Edwards, saw what Justice Hill did last week. Same thing with what's his face? Jesus Christ. Hold on, 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
From where?
From damn Najee Harris is back up.
Oh, we were just talking about the guy, Jaylen Warren.
Jaylen Warren.
Yeah.
Like that's another guy, with what Harris has been doing. You don't know. But one guy, a couple, maybe two, and both of their last names are Reynolds, that I would be probably attacking really hard, would be the second man for Detroit. I think people are starting to see St. Brown is a real deal. You're starting to get the under and over cover on him real hard. Getting that double team. Sometimes even I've seen him triple team last week.
Starting to realize he's a threat.
He's a threat. And they still didn't shut him down fully. But I mean, last year it was 21, 25, 37 games from him every week. And you might see that falter. So you might want to go get, Josh Reynolds or somebody like that, his second guy, because, last week they went off and they're going to start to go off more and more because, like we alluded to, people are starting to know that he's him, he's their guy.
Yeah.
And when you get into those type of situations, I mean, I guarantee you nobody had Craig Reynolds or Josh Reynolds on any of their teams. I bet you they were probably only in 90, maybe 92% of leagues are not in, so those are two big guys that I would probably, go for. I think Josh Reynolds is like projected like 14 or something this week. So that lets you know what ESPN is already thinking that he is probably going to produce for you.
Correct. Few games I want everybody to pay attention to. If you have anybody on these teams, you got to play them all. Miami's game against man, I just had that in front of my face. I don't know why I took that away. Miami versus the Denver today, this week. Woo! Well, it's going to be a wash. Tell you what, everyone from Miami is going to get work. Jalen Waddle, your boy Berrios, obviously Raheem Mostert, and we know Big Man Hill's going to get it. A bunch. I think the tight end's even going to get some work.
I think Raheem's hurt.
Yeah, I think Raheem's a little hurt, but I think Raheem will make it through. I think he's gonna. It doesn't have anything. And see, this is where this comes in. You pop on your fantasy thing. What does it say? See, this is how easy it is. So we just talk about that. I weary about it because I have them in a bunch of leagues. All you do is you simply grab it, you pop it on. It's no big deal because it'll tell you. Everyone's like, I don't know. You think he's going to play? Think he's going to do this? Think he's going to do that? Look, my first league, let's see. Where is he at? Okay. Go to right there. Okay. Click on him, Mr. Raheem Mostert. It doesn't say anything. No doubtful, no out, no nothing. Okay. Think about it like this. Raheem Mostert is the only Dolphins back to see more than 3 carries in either of their 3 games this season. 2 games. And in week 3, he'll get a Broncos defense that's given up 91.5 rushing yards per game so far, which ranks in the middle of the pack. You play the man, okay? When you get small tidbits in from it, read. I'm not a big comprehender, but I know how to read, and I know what that means. I know what 91 yards means. He just put up 131 yards on a team that's given up
10 more is an automatic 10 points, and that's probably going to come with 10 touches, another 10 points. You get.
Well, yeah, and in those leagues, like you're saying, when you get points or touches and a few more yards and stuff like that, he's gonna get those yards. Come on, they're gonna give them to him. Tyreek Hill's gonna hit 200 this week, dude, on this defense. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's games you need to watch out for. You need to pay attention to. That look, if I got this guy, he's gotta play. Don't even think about it. Another one is Dallas. Anyone and everyone you got for Dallas, play them against the Cardinals, especially that defense. They're going to score, like you said earlier, they're going to score more points than the offense does. That's what they've been doing. Micah Parsons is an animal, an absolute animal. I mean, an animal, people. Are you hearing this? The guy's on another level. I'll tell you a game to stay away from. That Philly and Buccaneers game. No, I don't want no part of it. No part of it. Because that Buccaneers defense is pretty good. That offense is a little weary. So you know what that means? A little less points here. I think the Eagles get them like 21-14, which is not a great fantasy game. I'm going to tell you right now. Not a big fantasy game. Look out for the Bengals this week. Okay? I think I thought about it this week, but I think this is the week where they're going to get a Monday night game by themselves, not by themselves, but with you know.
And that's a game that, again, you talk about like going to. You see, that's a game that, you think, oh, the Bengals ain't done anything this year. They don't do anything the first 2-3 weeks. This is their week.
Last 3 years they haven't.
Yeah, this is their week where, like you said, they're coming out, and that's a game where I would play my Seattle or my Cincinnati people, and I'm playing my Rams people, because it's going to be one of those high-scoring games. You're talking it's going to be one of those 37-35 type of games where everybody in there is going to be putting up numbers.
Right. A few guys I want to touch on here before we go to a break here in about, I'd say 10 or so minutes. I want to go perfect. Yeah, about 10 or so minutes. Listen, there's a few guys on one or two of my teams that I wanted to talk to you about to see if, there's, when you are winning or losing a fantasy season or league, like I'm 2-0, or I'm 0-2 in 2 leagues, and I'm 2-0 in 2 leagues, and then I'm in the middle of packing a bunch. I'm making the exact same moves in every one of those leagues, no matter if I'm first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. Do you find yourself doing that same thing? Like if I have the openings that, I'm in 10th right now in one of my Yahoo public leagues, and listen to this: Josh Allen, Jamar Chase, George Pickens, Kyron Williams, Raheem Mostert, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Waddle. That's my starting. I have Gabe Davis, Amon-Ra St. Brown, James Conner, Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, and Matt Stafford on my bench, with Carlson, my kicker, and Philly's defense.
And if you would have started your bench over your starters, you would probably be 2-0.
Yeah, and like I said, I could show you on that thing. I probably would be. And I'm 0-2 in that league, and I'm 10th, and I'm only projected 106 points.
And that's actually just brought a good point to my mind. Week 1, Brandon Ayuk goes for almost 30. Don't if you have him on your bench, like, oh, he's a definite starter now. Because what did he do, like 12 points last week? Yeah. Now, this week is probably going to be his week. You see those trends. And I always say, like, don't go, and a guy on your bench, that is doing good one week, don't think that he's just a must start because he had a pop-off week. Now, when I say that, like a guy like Kyron Williams or even Paku Naku, Nana Tata, he those guys are the number ones there now. So that's different, and that's a good, like Raheem Mostert, you probably got him in late rounds. A lot of people weren't going out and grabbing him because you don't really know what he was going to be there. But me and because we know him, he's going to be number 1.
He did just run by your house again.
He did. I mean, you saw him again. God damn it.
Wow, look at him go.
He snatched the Green Bay blanket off the back of the couch. I didn't even see
him.
Oh,
dude, it is gone. Look at that thing.
Gone. Still running. Think he's going to freaking, yeah, it's bad. But I want to also, too, so I went on the ESPN thing, and you could do a tracker type deal, and they got it for you here. Like, for instance, the Chiefs defense this year, I got them, are plus 36 points. So they've scored 36 points more than like they were projected. I got Kendrick Bourne, 36.4 more points, you know. Our boy Kicker the Dicker, 16-9. Jordan Love, 23-9. You know, you see these, you know, Kyron Williams, plus 80. You know, and that's how you win football on fantasy side in a sense, because nobody was going for Jordan Love. Nobody was going for Kyron Williams. Chiefs defense ain't ever done shit. You know, nobody knew who Cam Dicker the Kicker was. We did. He's 20 points above average. You know, nobody thought Kendrick Bourne was going to do anything. We did. 36.4. And those are the type of things, because then you go back to Najee Harris, -7. Christian Kirk, -4. You know, Austin Eckler.
I think Christian Kirk had a decent game last week. Though.
Yeah, and he will.
14, 15 points. Something.
But, you know, like you got your Justin Herberts who are breaking even, you know, your A.J. Browns who are way underwhelming, and, you know, and is -15. It's like,
so you're saying projections don't mean much.
To your point. Yep. To your point, what you were saying, projections don't mean much.
And like I'm telling you, back to the point. Don't sit yourself on a projection that says my guy's going to get a little more than this. My guy's going to get a little more than that. I don't think so. Well, no. You know how many? I didn't show you guys. I'm going to pop this on. Watch this. I'm going to show you guys. Hang on. We'll go back. I'll show them after the break. All the red that I have on my sheets of the guys who did not hit their projection, just on my teams alone, let alone the entire rest of the league. You'll see that after the break here in about 5 minutes. So just before the break, Bubba, is there anyone of a higher tier that, you know, doesn't have an injury, that won't be back in a few weeks, that you feel comfortable dropping for, you know, say a Jerome Ford, a Tutu Atwell, a Puka Nacua, because I know that person is in a number one spot. And okay, let me give you, say, like, would you be comfortable, obviously, dropping, say, like, you know how like Michael Thomas is number one in New Orleans, but he doesn't show a number one-ish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel afraid to, you know, to drop someone like that. Like I would drop. I'm trying to think of a good example so that someone doesn't make it seem like it's that wouldn't be so. You know, I would drop, say, like.
Would you go drop Christian Kirk to get KJ Bourne or Kendrick Bourne? You know, that's a good example, because you know Christian Kirk is I mean, he's getting paid
there, but he's too wobbly. And I think a lot of people do that too. I have that. I even have that problem sometimes, is when to play him, because 16-5, 14-7. You know, it's like, when is he gonna hit over 10? It's like, I don't know. Yeah. And I would rather have a guy that, you know, I know is gonna get 12 targets a game, because he's the dude out there now. You know, like you said, Kendrick Bourne, who's gonna get the work. You know, in small areas. Like I didn't even think about it, but you know, on a lot of I watched the other night, and it dawned on me. I was watching, and this is what happens when you start watching. You know, watching more and more on sports. Allen Robinson is on a whole bunch of our waiver wires, and he was getting everything from Deshaun Watson. I mean, he got 6 in a row, and I looked on our waiver, like that moment. I was like, oh my gosh, boom, another league, boom, another league, boom. I'm like, you're just gonna, if you're gonna give me these points, I'm gonna take them, fellas. Just gonna let everybody know. you know. And if you're not going to notice it and want to make your team better, that's not on me. You know, I'm out here watching football every day, making sure who's playing, who's that guy, where the heck, you know, who's this dude catching? Like I'm even watching defenders for 2 of my leagues. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
wow, he's got 15 tackles today. Christ. I'm like, quick on the wire. Where is he? Where is he? I know even nobody got him. Boom, click. Because he just got 13, 14 points. That's huge swing, bro.
And
That's a huge swing.
and that's like a Tank Dell's a good example of a guy like that.
I got Zaire Franklin. A lot of people don't think about it. Indianapolis defense is terrible, but somebody's gonna make all the tackles, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Tank Dell.
No. And that's what I was like you say, you look at those differentials and what they're doing and things like that, and to me, you're starting to get into the point. We'll go into this a little bit in the next one of where the waiver is going to start getting thin. We're starting to get thin. The players that ain't doing stuff that people thought they were getting ousted. So now that brings you into the trade, and we'll get back to that.
Right. We'll be right back here, guys, in just 1 minute. Thanks. This is Squirrel and Jesse. Catch us right after the break.